Welcome one and all to the weekend recap hosted by yours truly, Paco. How you doing, folks? I hope you enjoyed your weekend and I hope you're ready to jump into a new location in this week's episode. In Spain, my beautiful Real Sociedad have truly floundered since the return of football in España. After looking like they would be the team to lock down the fourth place prior to the return, they have since looked more mid-table than Champions League combatants, or Champions League hopefuls, I should say. From the 8 matches they have played, they've now won just once, and after what was an important match against Granada that they lost 3-2 on Friday, they've lost 5 of those 8 matches since returning. It's a shame, because their form was truly remarkable prior to the break, but I guess there were some signs of volatility along the way, no? They have 3 matches remaining now, but they're going to have to be absolutely perfect as they're facing Villarreal, Sevilla, and Atletico Madrid. Speaking of which, Atletico Madrid also had a frustrating weekend, but they got their 1-0 win, man. Eventually, poor Alvaro Morata had 2 goals called back in the first half, one of which being a stunner. Then Mario Hermoso was sent off after the intermission around the 54th minute. Nightmare kind of stuff for them, the stuff that makes you feel like the world is against you until they got a decision in their favor, or at least a decision stood. The decision being that Diego Costa's headed goal from Yannick Carrasco's free kick was legal. 1-0 there. Atletico's form is quite good as they are now undefeated in 14 matches in the league. They haven't lost a La Liga match since February 1st. Simeone, man. And they've secured Champions League football for next season. Barcelona played against Real Valladolid, who recently secured their place in La Liga for next season with the second lowest budget in the league, so shout out to Valladolid. Setien started Suarez on the bench for this one, so Barcelona's attack was shouldered by Messi, Griezmann, and of course Arturo Vidal. But, I mean, to be fair to Vidal, he has played well for Barca at times this season, and this was one of those matches where he did indeed play quite well for Barca. Leo Messi got his 20th assist of the season as he set up Vidal, great strike from him, and Barca overall looked solid, in the first half at least, but as has been the case at times this season, too many times this season, they petered out in the second half. In fact, Valladolid had a great chance to equalize in the second half after they started generating some fantastic chances, but they couldn't pull it off, and Barcelona held on. That meant that Real Madrid would not be able to secure a La Liga title with a win against Granada, I believe, today, so they'll have to wait a bit longer. Oh, and Antoine Griezmann's season is over, at least his La Liga season, because the entire La Liga season will be over by next week, so Griezmann picked up a thigh injury against Valladolid and has been ruled out for Barcelona's final 2 matches. Real Madrid, by the way, they beat Deportivo Alavés on Friday, which will have surprised absolutely nobody on planet Earth. Not a single soul was surprised by this result, as poor Alavés have been free-falling since returning to play. 1 win, 7 losses, 6 of which have been consecutively. But anyway, they went to Valdebebas and got Karim Benzema stood in for Sergio Ramos on penalty duty and did well while the Spanish Viking Lord didn't take part in this match. 1-0, and in the second half, Karim Benzema set up Marco Asensio as the Frenchman was involved in both goals. He's been involved in 26 goals in total for Real Madrid this season and 34 La Liga appearances. Couple that with him being involved in 6 goals across 7 Champions League appearances, and we've got a big wow season in the books for him. Looking like 2015-16 Benzema, or I guess 2018-19 Benzema as well. That was a solid Benzema also, but this one, he just looks better in his general play, overall, in my opinion. Now, editor Adrian, please tell us about the Sevilla result and the La Liga standings. Hey, yes, thank you. And Sevilla had a relatively easy time with Mallorca, as you would expect. Lucas Ocampos gave them the lead from the penalty spot in the first half, his 14th goal of the season now. In the second, while Mallorca were improved, they just couldn't convert. And a long bomb forward by Sevilla keeper Bono was lashed onto by Youssef En-Nesyri, and the Moroccan lobbed Manolo Reina to make it 2-0 Sevilla, and that was how it ended. And so, with that win, they are level on points with Atletico Madrid to solidify their spot in the top 4, with 2 matches remaining. No chance of Villarreal catching them now, so no Champions League football for Villarreal. Back to Paco. Thank you, editor Adrian. We are here now live with Paco in Italy. Lazio are still seemingly shaken from the effects of that Atalanta loss that ended their 21-match unbeaten run, as since then, they have won 2 matches, but lost 3 in a row. In fact, it wasn't just Atalanta that messed them up, but the 3-0 loss to AC Milan when they were without both Immobile and Caicedo, they've been flat since then, as they have since lost to relegation-threatened Lecce, and now this past Saturday they lost to Sassuolo, a team that attacks beautifully at times, but simply cannot defend to save their lives. Francesco Caputo scored the winner for Sassuolo in the 91st minute. Heartbreak for Simone Inzaghi and the boys. However, the league leaders Juventus didn't have a great weekend either, and they will be thanking the murkiness of the handball rule for saving them from defeat at the hands of everyone's favorite Italian side, Atalanta. Juventus certainly improved in the second half, but the spells of domination from Atalanta were something to witness, man. They're always a pleasure to watch. In the first half, Atalanta went a full 8 minutes and 11 seconds without allowing Juventus to have a single touch of the ball within Atalanta's half. That's impressive. And in the 16th minute of that first half, Papu Gomez rolled it through to Zapata to score against Juventus once again. He loves doing that. But in the second half, Martin de Roon turned to block a driven cross from Dybala that bounced off of his elbow in the area. And that's a penalty in the Serie A, despite the player knowing nothing about it really, and the strike coming from point blank. They've been consistent with those calls though. You gotta say, they've been consistent all season in the Serie A with those harsh handballs. Everyone's getting it. I mean, De Ligt might lead the league in handballs. That poor guy. No problem for Atalanta there. They're not going to just sit and dwell on that, as Atalanta made some changes and brought on Malinovsky, and he beat Szczesny later in the match to make it 2-1 Atalanta. But again, that pesky handball rule came up and punished Atalanta in the 90th minute. A corner for Juve went across the box, and as Higuain was trying to touch the ball back to Alexandro on the edge of the box, the ball went, again unknowingly, off of the hand of Muriel on the way, and thus another penalty was given that Ronaldo converted. What hurts about this one is that it wasn't even a shot on goal. It wasn't even, a pass towards the middle of the box for someone to challenge for. He was legit just touching it back outside of the 18 towards Alexandro, and that's where the contact happened. And that is what got Juve a point. And Ronaldo's 2 goals in this one. So yeah, you gotta feel for Atalanta, who did more than enough to win this match, and yet they were brought down by 2 extremely harsh penalties. I mean, that happens though. Well, they weren't brought down completely, I guess, as it was a draw, but still, they deserve to win the match. They deserve to get that 9th win in a row. Those were Ronaldo's 27th and 28th goals of the season, as he and the other penalty overlord, Ciro Immobile, will have a penalty battle until the end. But besides that, it's so impressive to see 35-year-old Ronaldo scoring 28 goals in the Serie A, following in the footsteps of Fabio Quagliarella. Ronaldo's been involved in 9 goals in his last 6 matches for Juventus. Stunning stuff, even if 4 of those goals have been from the penalty spot. Still impressive in my opinion. Paulo Fonseca's AS Roma side finally got their ducks in a row as they snapped their 3-match losing streak with a 3-0 win over Brescia, a goal for every loss. Poetry from them. Fonseca continues to slowly reintegrate Nicolo Zaniolo, which has got to have Roma fans very happy. After his lengthy spell on the medical table with a ruptured ACL, he came on for the last 20 or so minutes and capped that off with his first goal since December. Unfortunately for Roma, the damage from that 3-match losing skid has been done to their Champions League hopes already, or at least it feels that way, as they're quite far behind Inter and Atalanta by now. But, I mean, 6 matches remaining, there's time for a collapse and a resurgence still. Alright, and for the second time and the last time in this video, let's send it to Editor Adrian for the Napoli versus AC Milan match. Editor Adrian, take it away, bro. Editor Adrian once again, and AC Milan have turned themselves into one of the most entertaining teams in the Serie A, except for now at least. It is for all the right reasons. And hey, long may it continue, man. I like seeing a competitive Milan. I like seeing a competitive league. Milan went away to the Stadio San Paolo to take on Napoli, and through Theo Hernandez, they took the lead after 20 minutes, but this was a back and forth match where each team took a shot at leading. Napoli leveled, then took the lead thanks to Dries Mertens, his 9th of the season. Pesky Milan won a penalty, which Franck Kessié converted to make it 2-2, and that's how this one finished. So, as you can see, they remain close in the table and close to AS Roma. Juve's lead, despite drawing this weekend, was extended to 8 points over Lazio, and Inter can retake third place from Atalanta if they beat Torino today. All right, back to Paco. Guys, first of all, thank you, Editor Adrian, but guys, David Moyes is back, man. Consecutive wins? No, he hasn't pulled that off yet in the Premier League since taking over back in December, but at least they have pulled 7 points from their last 4 matches. That's solid for them. Their latest victory was one they absolutely had to win as they took advantage of Norwich's horrid form to win 4-0, and thus relegating the Canaries to the championship once again. A quick Premier League visit from Daniel Farke and co, and they're on their way back to the championship. Moyes and West Ham aren't safe just yet, however, as Watford got an extremely important victory on the weekend as well, as 2 penalties from Troy Deeney gave them the 2-1 victory in what could be a season-saving win, or at least a win that sent them on their way to saving their season. Now, West Ham and Watford will play each other in their next match. That will take place this Friday, and we'll have plenty of intrigue around it. Lots of drama at the bottom of the table. Bournemouth and Villa, they aren't dead just yet either. We'll get to them later though, as Mr. Dyche and Burnley went to Anfield to take on the champions, and they certainly gave them a frustrating afternoon. After looking like he was still partying for a few matches, Andy Robertson is starting to resemble Andy Robertson again. He scored in the 34th minute after Nick Pope had made save after save to stymie a dominant Liverpool before that. A header from Andy Robertson, a nice header as well. But in the second half, after Roberto Firmino came millimeters away from ending his Anfield goal drought, unlucky, off of the post, Jay Rodriguez later leveled with a great strike. I mean, Burnley came close to even winning this one when Goodmanson fired a volley off of the bar. Good display from Burnley in the second half, but 1-1 the final. Burnley, man, still fighting for that top 10. They're not dead yet. Sheffield United are back. The Blades are back after taking a bit of a vacation from the win column to rack up a few losses. They face the enigmatic team that is Chelsea. So often they are scintillating, but they too take some vacations from winning once in a while. McBurney hit a fantastic volley that Kepa could only palm into the path of McGoldrick to make it 1-0 after 18 minutes, his first Premier League goal of the season. And about 15 minutes after that, McBurney nodded past Kepa himself. McBurney looked lethal on the day, man. Shout out McBurney. He hasn't scored too often this season, but with goals against Spurs and Chelsea, now you feel he may be on his way for next season, as his overall play has been decent throughout the season, but the goals have been too infrequent, you know? Mind you, no one's a runaway goal scorer for Sheffield. McBurney is tied for top in the Premier League with 6 goals, alongside Mousset. Sheffield's first 2 goals came from crosses, by the way, the thorn in Chelsea's side, and their third came from a horrendous bit of defending from Rudiger, failed clearance straight into McGoldrick's path as he picked up 2 of the easiest goals he'll ever score this season. In fact, the first 2 goals he's scored this season in the Premier League. Both of them just on a plate for him. But I mean, that's very rewarding of his overall play because, like I said with McBurney, McGoldrick's level has been quite decent so far this season, and he was just unlucky to not have any goals so far. It was quite the trying to figure out how he hadn't scored yet. Manchester City, I mean, you never know what you'll get from them in this season in particular, but after losing to Southampton, Pep clearly tore into his team and got them to find their pride again, and how they smashed Newcastle United 5-0 on Wednesday thanks to a David Silva masterclass, and on Saturday, they smashed Brighton 5-0 in a match where Raheem Sterling was sublime. A hat-trick for him, a goal and 2 assists from Gabriel Jesus, and a goal from Bernardo Silva. Easy money. They've run away with the total goal scored this season as they are now 15 ahead of Liverpool with 91 goals to their name. That part of their game hasn't suffered at all in this season as they have had 3 5-0 victories in June and July alone on top of their 4-0 over Liverpool. They just haven't had that clinicality in certain games, at least in defense. Wouldn't be surprised if they bring in another center back because they need one. And if they do, and he works well with Aymeric Laporte, and Laporte can stay healthy, City are going to be terrifying once again. Wolves lost 2 matches in a row in the lead up to their meeting with Everton, but Nuno's side truly turned things around when he met with Ancelotti on Sunday. There's never really a great time to concede, is there? But there are definitely times that are less bad to concede at. First half stoppage time is definitely a bad time to concede, as Everton did. And to concede once again right after the half? Terrible. Raul Jimenez converted a penalty in first half stoppage time, and Dendoncker scored right after the half for a quick 1-2 blow. Dendoncker finding his scoring touch lately, very unexpected. And in the 74th minute, Diogo Jota made it 3-0 for Wolves. Adama Traore could have made it 4 towards the end of the match, but he hit the woodwork. Impressive win from Wolves. They were absolutely dominant, man, and I still can't really get a feel for how Everton is this season. I guess they're as good as what the table shows, you know? Arsenal and Tottenham played a fairly stinky North London derby. It smelled, you know? Lacazette's goal certainly did not smell, as that was a thunderbolt, beautiful from him, but Heung-min Son's equalizer just a couple minutes later came as a result of a poor pass from Kolasinac that the South Korean stole away. Full credit to Son for the finish though, as he dribbled across Martinez and then dinked it over him into the back of the net. Beautifully done, but the lead up to it, not so. The rest of the match was relatively drab in my opinion, and tough to watch, as Mourinho had Tottenham playing with a very low block, 2 rows of 4 players, sitting very deep, classic Mourinho, unfortunate. But hey, the winner for Tottenham came courtesy of a Toby Alderweireld header from a corner to make it 2-1 Tottenham. Important points for them as they are in search of a Europa League spot currently. Aston Villa are going down fighting as they won 2-0 over Crystal Palace. Like I said, things are extremely interesting at the bottom of the table, especially with how Bournemouth came from behind to defeat Leicester City, man. What a collapse from Leicester this has been, not just in this game, but in this season. After bundling the ball over the line in the first half to take the lead over Bournemouth, a Peter Schmeichel goal kick went off of the ass of Ndidi at the edge of the box. And with Wilson picking up the ball, Ndidi clumsily brought him down for a penalty, converted by Stanislas, off his ass, and then he put what's-his-name on his ass for the penalty. Shortly after, Rico played Solanke through and they managed to slip the ball under Schmeichel. That was his first Premier League goal for Bournemouth. Can you believe it? He's been there for 2 seasons now, basically. Soyuncu then hoofed Wilson while he was grabbing the ball from the back of the net. Red card for Soyuncu, and the collapse was complete. Later, Bournemouth got a third thanks to a devastating deflection off of Johnny Evans' foot, and Solanke scored yet again. That was that. A massive win for Bournemouth as they ensure it's all to play for in the relegation battle, and I can't wait to see how it plays out. And so, Leicester's place in the top 4 is certainly under threat as United can surpass them with a win over Southampton today. Chelsea, despite some of their troubles at times, are still in the top 4, which is impressive. And at the bottom of the table, as you can see, it is very, very tight. That Watford and West Ham game, man, that's going to be crazy. Bonus League. The Turkish Super League is very interesting this season as the classic powers of Galatasaray, Fenerbahce, and Besiktas are all lagging. They aren't even in the top 3 right now. Well, Besiktas did indeed get a win over Kasimpasa this weekend, 3-2 in their last match. They find themselves in 4th, 1 point ahead of Galatasaray, whom they have a match in hand against. Instead, you can look to Istanbul Başakşehir for your league leaders as they have had a stunning campaign. Most recently, they defeated Denizlispor 2-0 with goals from Visca and Crivelli, each of those boys scoring their 11th on the season to take them level with Dembaba, who is also at Başakşehir. 11 goals for all 3 of those guys. In second place in the Super League is Trabzonspor, who are just 4 points behind Başakşehir with 3 matches remaining. It's going to come down to these 2 teams. You get that feeling. Sivasspor is in 3rd, but I don't know if they've got it. Trabzonspor have the league's best offense with 70 goals scored in 31 matches and haven't lost a match since December 12th, 2019. They're on quite the run. Lately, however, they have picked up a bad habit of drawing matches, which has cost them a bit in their title bid. 4 draws in their last 7 matches, but I mean, at least they're still in the fight. It's interesting to see the big 3 teams struggling so much as of late. Galatasaray won the league last season, just 2 points ahead of Başakşehir, but it looks as though the latter could get their first Turkish league title in their history in what would be their 30th year of existence. Actually, this would be their first ever title in general. So it should be an exciting conclusion to the Turkish season. The final day of matches will be on July 26th, with Beşiktaşir playing away to Kasımpaşa, who were on a run earlier but have since cooled off quite a bit, and Trabzonspor are playing away to Kayserispor, who could find themselves relegated by that time if they don't turn things around. Mind you, the relegation race is tight in Turkey. Anyone up until 10th place isn't mathematically safe just yet. Alright, thanks so much for watching, guys. I appreciate you spending your Monday with me, or Tuesday if you're a little late to the party. If you enjoyed this video and are finding us for the first time, then hit subscribe to make finding your way back to the channel just a little bit easier on yourself. But other than that, I'm Paco, this is Rabona TV, and I'll hopefully catch you in the next video. Ciao.